Hey guys, welcome back to Seattle Coffee Gear. It's another commercial kitchen video. We are back again with the R9, and today we are going to talk about programming your R9, how you can access the different programming features of it, everything that you can do from right here on the face of the machine. Why don't we go ahead and jump in? So, as we talked a little bit about in that last video, that was a longer video, you can program all these different functions. And just to start out, I did misstate in that first video, that longer video, that these are programmed completely individually. That is actually incorrect. We made a note on that video, but I'm just restating that for extra clarity. In fact, if you program this left group, those settings are going to transfer to the group on the right. If you had the 3-group version of this, programming the left group would program all 3 groups for the same thing. Now, you can program this group, and if you had a 3-group, the other group individually after that. But if you program this group, it's going to program everything. So just make sure you're programming this group first, and if you're making additional changes, you're reprogramming these after you program this one. Otherwise, this is going to completely overwrite everything else. So don't do that. I've done that a couple times already. It's a little bit frustrating to have to go in and reprogram that. So that's a quick tip there. Now, why don't we talk a little bit more in depth about how programming these buttons looks a little bit more. So I'll go ahead and pull a shot as if I was going to be programming this myself. And that's going to be programming these volumetrics here. So what I would do if I was programming this machine is I would have my grinder completely dialed in at this point in time. So it's at the right grind setting for what I want for the right time of my shot. And then once I get my grinder set up to the right amount of coffee I'm going to be using, I would come back to the machine and get this ready. So I like to program onto a scale. Makes things a little bit easier instead of judging it by volume, because your volume can change a little bit depending on how old your coffee is, what day of the week it is. There's a lot of fluctuation in volume, so by weight is much more accurate. Now we're talking about programming. So hold down this first P button here. Conveniently, P does stand for programming in this case, until it starts flashing. At this point, you'll notice both these groups are flashing. Now you're going to start your shot, and this is setting the volume for what we're expecting here. And it looks like I either had too much coffee in there or my grind setting is a little bit too fine. Clearly didn't follow my own advice and have this grinder set before I did this, but that is okay for now. And remember, this is doing it by volume, not by time. So I have that set now at that 40 grams. And then to save that, well, before I do that, I'm actually going to program my single shot as well. So I'm going to program that for just a couple seconds here. And then we'll shut it off. And then it's still flashing. If these two are blocked out like that, it means that they are now programmed, or they have been programmed. And then let's do that hot water as well. I usually do it for about 2 Dimitasses full. These are now all blocked out here, but if you'll notice, this one is still lit up. That's another weird little thing, is that while this group, these 2 functions will transfer over, the hot water does not transfer over. So let's do that as well. Perfect. I am now fully programmed all across the board. So to get out of that setting, I press that P button and then press it one more time, and you get back out of there. So that covers the basic shot volumetric programming of your machine. I haven't had enough coffee today, so I'm going to sip on this espresso. I'm going to knock this out. Give it a little rinse. Get rid of that. Now let's talk a little bit more in depth about the programming features here. I am cheating today and I have my menu or my owner's manual here in front of me so I can give more accurate information about this. So let's jump in. So first thing we're going to talk about is setting the temperature of your brew boilers. Now ideally this is only going to be done when you are changing to a new coffee. If you're a coffee shop, you're probably using the same blend pretty consistently. So you may want to change the brew temperature of each boiler here if you are changing the coffees in your espresso blend, or if you're changing to a different single origin coffee. That's when you would want to change these temperatures. Not necessarily something you need to do every single day when you're dialing in. Let's jump in here. So if you press the P button and the hot water button, or you can think A, B, C, D. If you press the P button and the hot water button one more time, you can now go up and down to change the temperature. Why don't we go up to there? And then if you press your P button to get out of there, it's going to save that temperature. I'll do the same thing over here, and that gets me out of there. That is how you change the temperature of your brew boilers. One benefit of this machine that's pretty cool that not a lot of other machines have is you can shut off the individual heating elements in each boiler, and you're going to do that by holding the P button and the 2 button, and it's going to tell you off right here. One interesting thing now is that you can run this. It's not going to prevent you from running this, but it's just the heating element that's turned off in there. And so if I turn that back on, you'll notice the temperature dropped because that heating element was off, so the boiler was cooling down. That's beneficial if one of your boilers needs service sometime down the road and you don't want to use it, or maybe you just decide you only want to have one boiler heating up. I don't know what you would need that for, but it is a convenient thing to have. Well, that's all I have for you guys today, talking about the different programming functions here on the R9. I hope you enjoyed this video as we got a little bit more in depth. Please leave a comment down below if you have any questions about the video, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. If you'd like to start your own coffee shop, or you just have questions about commercial coffee equipment, please feel free to give us a call. We'd love to talk through some things with you about opening your own coffee shop, replacing some equipment in your coffee shop, whatever you need, we'd love to help you with that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.